The PS Vita is one of the greatest portables in gaming history, following in the footsteps of the immensely successful PSP. However, the lack of post-launch support caused the handheld to be poorly received, with many people feeling that Sony ignored this handheld. Fortunately, the Vita library was still full of great games, so check out the best PS Vita games now. Disgaea 4, A Promise Revisited is an upgraded re-release of the PS3 version, including all of its DLC, extra content, and quality-of-life improvements. The Disgaea series is defined by its over-the-top nature. From its story and characters to its almost overwhelming number of mechanics and upgrade systems, Disgaea games have depth that you don't often find in other games. Disgaea 4 is a strategy RPG with tons of content, classes, and grinding. If you're looking for a game with a great cast of quirky characters, a sometimes silly, sometimes serious, but always engaging story, and tons of stuff to do, you can't go wrong with Disgaea 4, A Promise Revisited. Considering its capabilities, the Vita was decidedly short-served when it came to excellent first-person shooters. Fortunately, Guerrilla Cambridge was able to fill the void with a superb effort that made its peers look laughable in comparison. While the frame rate can take a hit at times and it's a little on the short side, it looks tremendous, has great shooting mechanics, and offers you the opportunity to play as both sides of the conflict. Sadly, its excellent online multiplayer is no longer up and running, so you'll have to make do with the single-player campaign, which clocks in at a brief but action-packed 5 hours. Digimon Story is undoubtedly one of the best PS Vita games for die-hard Digimon fans. We're talking about the ones that have been with the series since it first appeared on the scene back in 1999. They kind of people who didn't just collect 90s toys, they lived and breathed them. This game sees a return to a properly story-based format. We're not talking about confusing plot lines or tons of side quests with characters that you can never remember the names of either. No, Cyber Sleuth is all about believable character development and a stellar narrative right from the get-go. Add in the appeal of playing with 200 of the best Digimon to ever grace the franchise, and you've instantly got a handheld title that's seriously hard to put down. If you're a fan of the best Digimon games, then you already know how amazing this game is. Not only has it rekindled or strengthened the love of Digimon in old fans, but it's also responsible for bringing new fans to the table too. The accessibility of Mojang's World Builder means it's perfect for gaming on the go. While some will be disappointed with its lack of story or instruction, the real beauty of Minecraft is the sheer freedom that it offers. Pretty much anything you can think of can be built, providing you have the right resources or are playing in creation mode, and you're only really limited by your own imagination. While it lacks the huge playing areas of the PC original, the Vita version still manages to impress on its own terms and looks fantastic too. Soul Sacrifice Delta is a mission-based action RPG set in a grim dark fantasy world. You will play as a sorcerer imprisoned by a powerful mage called Magusar. By reliving the battles of another sorcerer through a talking book, you'll gain the power and abilities necessary to fight back against Magusar. Battles are centered around the saving and sacrificing mechanic, where you can either save or sacrifice fallen enemies or allies to perform different abilities. Before each battle, you can change your equipment, using offerings gained in battle to craft new weapons and armor. There was no shortage of great games for the PS Vita's launch, and WipEout remains one of the best racing experiences you can have on the console. Yes, it's hampered by some slow loading times, and the weight and speed of the craft take a little while to get used to. But once the new handling does click, you'll discover the racing and combat to be just as satisfying as earlier games in the series, which are actually set many years after this prequel. While its online multiplayer is a thing of the past, there remains plenty of card-based content to keep you busy. World of Final Fantasy is, as you would imagine, dripping with RPG goodness just like every other Final Fantasy game in the canon. In this title, players control twins as they recruit monsters to fight in battles with them and delve into dangerous dungeons for explorative gameplay and active time battles. You can even ride monsters around and have them solve puzzles too. Unreal, right? So, let's touch on this active time battle jobby. Well, unlike turn-based battling, players can attack freely and use items at will, stack monsters up and summon impressive powered-up beasts into the battle in order to get the upper hand. Have I coaxed you into buying it yet? There are also quests and mini-games to access from a central hub players keep returning back to, the area where the game first begins. Spend gold to buy extra items that will help you on your quest, and marvel at the impressive team of monsters you've caught along the way. No, it's not Pokemon, even though it sounds incredibly like it. The PS Vita is blessed with a wealth of great fighters, but few can compete with the insane amount of content that Mortal Kombat offers. While its online servers have long since shut, it features virtually all the content from the PS3's Complete Edition, meaning there's a genuinely excellent story mode to battle through, sickening X-ray moves to enjoy, and a gargantuan challenge tower to climb. Amazingly, the PS Vita version improves on this by retaining all the excellent gameplay and adding new costumes, touch-based finishing moves, and a brand new challenge tower with 150 new missions to complete. YS, Memories of Celceta is an action RPG set after the events of the first two YS games. Waking up in the land of Celceta with amnesia, you'll explore the forests of Celceta as Adel Kristen with various companions and party members to recover your lost memories. The gameplay in Memories of Celceta is character-based and action-focused. Each character has skills that they can use in combat, and enemies come with weaknesses to certain damage types, meaning you'll have to frequently switch your active character to overcome each scenario. As great as Minecraft is, its freeform gameplay certainly isn't for everyone. If you're like us and need a little more structure with your digging and building, you'll find Dragon Quest Builders to be the perfect tonic. It takes the core concept of Mojang's phenomenally successful game, but marries it to the popular Dragon Quest universe and fills it with likable characters, light RPG mechanics, and an engaging story. It's clever with its structure too, slowly giving you simple tasks to complete that rarely tax you, but as the game reaches its conclusion, you'll be overseeing objectives that will be beyond your wildest dreams. Batman is always welcome in any of our best games lists, and Batman: Arkham Origins Blackgate is one of the best PS Vita games to de-stress with on the way home from work, because who doesn't feel more relaxed after a dude with a cape has punched the living daylights out of some evil goons? We all love Castlevania, but if you've ever wished that Richter Belmont and Batman could have swapped places, then this will be the only game you'll ever need in your life from now on. So for all intents and purposes, this is another Metroidvania-style game, albeit with multiple levels accessible by grappling hook and evolving camera angles in certain situations. Gameplay-wise, it mimics everything we know and love from the main Arkham series. Kick the crap out of bad guys, use exciting technology many of us can only dream of owning, hang from ledges, and glide through levels like a rich boss. Exploration is key in this game. Players will have to revisit certain areas with new equipment if they have any hope of completing Blackgate. While everyone will get some enjoyment out of this game, it's definitely one primarily for the comic book fans out there. It looks fantastic on the Vita too. It's possible to purchase several Telltale Games titles on PS Vita, but its first entry in the popular Walking Dead series remains its strongest. While the game doesn't give anywhere near as much agency over events as it would like you to believe, there's no denying the weight of each choice you make, as every decision seemingly dictates the future of protagonist Lee Everett and his young charge, Clementine. Yes, it's built on a flimsy game engine that would become ever more problematic with later games, but the distinctive-looking visuals, magnificently written episodes, and numerous tense situations mean your Vita will rarely leave your hands. Darkest Dungeon jumps in at number 11. It's about time we had another RPG, right? We're heading back to good old-fashioned turn-based action with this one. Send parties to explore dungeons, upgrade strongholds and towns, and level up party members until they become stronger than Chuck Norris in a rage-fueled bar brawl. In a twist, the characters in this game can also get stressed. Get too stressed, and your character will die. Wow, talk about deep. Keeping your head in the game and your character on a level footing requires a lot of brain power. This isn't just one that you can stick on and half concentrate with. If you want to crack Darkest Dungeon, then it'll require all your attention, and it'll probably leave you stressed in real life. Still, look at that artwork. This is one beautiful looking game and a great addition to the Vita's back catalog. This charming roguelike is one of several PS Vita games that didn't receive a physical release, meaning you should pick it up sooner rather than later. The clever mechanics at the base of Cellar Door Games' adventure is that dying lets you carry on playing with a direct descendant of your character, and they'll often have abilities that can enhance or hinder your progress, from short-sightedness to smashing anything they blunder through. You soon realize that every trait can be exploited in some way, meaning there are always new ways to explore the procedurally generated castle. It's certainly not an easy game, but an excellent skill tree and perfectly balanced combat mechanics make each new run that little bit easier. Freedom Wars is a Vita-exclusive sci-fi action RPG set in the distant future, where humanity has been imprisoned in giant city-states known as panopticons. Every citizen is given a prison sentence. When you begin the game, your sentence will be set to 1 million years for the crime of being living. By fighting giant mechanized monsters called abductors, you can decrease your sentence and work towards your freedom. You'll fight these abductors using a thorn, which can be used to leap around the battlefield and knock the monsters down. Freedom Wars has in-depth action combat that controls surprisingly well and even supports local and online multiplayer. Child of Light takes the 9th spot in this list of the best PS Vita games, proving that we love a good RPG handheld title here at Retro Dodo Towers. Now I know what you're thinking, and the answer is yes. Side-scrolling RPGs are just as good as the 3D ones. Play through the world of Lemuria, which I'm sorry to say has absolutely nothing to do with lemurs. If it did, then this game would be ranking way higher, trust me. So what's the story here then? Well, players take a girl who is dead in real life but living in a fantasy realm on an adventure. What's more, the sun and moon are missing. In terms of looks, Child of Light has an early Abe's Odyssey meets Rayman vibe to it, which is by no means a bad thing. It also sits neatly in line with other games like Hollow Knight, one of the best Nintendo Switch games I still play on a regular basis. Take part in battles that wouldn't seem out of place in the FF series, complete Zelda-style puzzles, and do it all while destroying weird and wonderful creatures at every turn. Yep, this is 100% one of the best PS Vita games for fantasy nerds, which should be every single damn one of you. While its physical release is rapidly escalating in price, there's always the digital version, while the store remains open. Regardless of which option you do plump for, it's unlikely you'll be disappointed with Future Labs' slick shooter/run-and-gun hybrid. As with the original Velocity, most levels take part in your Corp Jet, which has the handy ability to teleport, but you can also now dock at various points, and it's here that the game introduces new run-and-gun stages as Kaitana tears around cleverly constructed levels. She's as nimble as her jet and can also warp, meaning you'll have plenty of clever puzzles to solve as you race through each stage. Exceptionally fast-paced and blessed with an astonishing soundtrack, Velocity 2X has some of the most frenetic blasting you can experience on Sony's console. Odin Sphere Leifthrasir is a 2D beat-em-up action RPG where you play as one of 5 characters and experience their stories surrounding a war over a weapon that will destroy the world. Each of the 5 characters in Odin Sphere Leifthrasir has unique playstyles, and the combat only gets better the more you play. As its name suggests, Odin Sphere takes heavy inspiration from Norse mythology and various fairy tales. The game is rendered in a beautiful painted art style, which has since become one of Vanillaware's defining features. If you're looking for a great action-focused game with an engaging story on the Vita, you can't go wrong with Odin Sphere Leifthrasir. From a fantasy realm to a world that no one in their right mind would want to get lost in, Resident Evil Revelations 2 takes the 8th spot in our list. Revelations 2 for the Vita has tons of content for players to sink their teeth into. Zombie Pun. It contains 4 main episodes plus tons of downloadable content including raid modes and much more. And you know what? The gameplay looks freaking ace on the Vita. This thing doesn't get anywhere near enough credit. It might have sold an embarrassingly low amount of units compared to the PSP, but it still cuts the mustard today. Revelations 2 is all of the R.E. thrills and spills that we've come to expect from these games. You know how I feel about handheld titles, and if you don't, I love them, and splatting undead cretins while laying on the sofa never looked or felt so good. The controls are easy to use, and the whole title is a joy to play. Grab a copy and let me know your thoughts. There are a number of entertaining Metroidvanias on Sony's handheld, but our favorite remains this larger-than-life effort from Drinkbox Studios. As you'd expect from its name, combat plays an important role in Guacamelee, with Lucador One receiving many combat-based moves that allow him to effortlessly navigate the village of Santa Lucita and best its many inhabitants. Filled with delightful characters, a drop-in and out 2-player mode, a sharp script and plenty of memorable boss encounters, Juan's adventure spans both the land of the living and the dead and never fails to impress. What a pity PS Vita owners never received the sequel. Uncharted: Golden Abyss is a spin-off prequel to the core Uncharted series, and was a Vita launch title. Taking place before the events of the first game, you'll search for the lost city of Quivira as Nathan Drake, engaging in third-person shooting and puzzle segments. Despite not being developed by Naughty Dog, the studio oversaw the development of the game, ensuring Golden Abyss has the distinct Uncharted feel and combat. In fact, the gameplay is translated exceptionally well onto the handheld format of the Vita, making for a comfortable and familiar experience, especially if you're a fan of the original games. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is one of my favorite handheld fighting titles of all time. For fans of pretty much any Street Fighter crossover title, the premise of this game won't be much of a surprise. We're talking Deadpool vs. Ryu, Wolverine vs. Doctor Strange, basically the best battles of all time on your Vita. So, let's touch on some cool features. For starters, there's a system called X Factor, but luckily it has nothing to do with that drivel Simon Cowell used to host. It's a feature that boosts important characteristics like speed and strength for a short time. Then there's new characters to make an entry that didn't feature in the previous game. Play with Hawkeye, Ghost Rider, Nemesis, and many more epic fighters. The original limited-run game's release of Derek used masterful platformers sold out in a couple of minutes, making it quite a pricey purchase nowadays. There's a reason for the high demand though. It's quite simply the best platformer you can play on Vita, and considering the competition, that's high praise indeed. Spelunky's brutal difficulty will no doubt put many off, but if you stick with it you'll find one of the most rewarding experiences around. While stages are procedurally generated, the enemies and traps that inhabit them obey certain laws, and you'll need to understand those in order to make progress. Just make sure to chain your Vita to your wrist, as you may want to throw it at times. The fact that one of the greatest platformers ever made was developed by Ubisoft is rather hard to digest, given the trajectory this company has taken in modern times. Rayman Origins is a game that will surprise any fan of platformers, who'll find it hard to believe just how imaginative and approachable this title really is. The game also had co-op so that more people could join in the fun. Most people found the game to be simple enough to get into and incredibly satisfying to master, especially in some of the tougher levels where precision platforming is downright necessary to succeed. Vanillaware's Viber Brawler is also available on PS3 and PS4, but the Vita's stunning OLED screen punches up the action no end. Dragon's Crown is essentially a modern-day evolution of the scrolling fighters of old, but ramps things up considerably thanks to its rich combat system, some solid RPG mechanics, 6 distinctive character classes that all play differently from each other, and some truly huge dungeons to navigate. While it lacks the multiplayer of its bigger brothers, the enemy AI is balanced enough that you don't mind battling the game's often stunning bosses on your own. The studio's earlier release, Muramasa, the Demon Blade, is equally worthy of your time, but quite pricey now. The epic Metal Gear Solid HD collection takes the bronze medal in this list of the best PS Vita games ever made. I guess everything that you need to know about this PS Vita title is up there for you on the cover. This game provides HD copies of 2 of the best Metal Gear Solid games of all time, Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater. Sons of Liberty is more than just a stealth game, it's one of the deepest games around. How many titles do you know that cover existentialism as well as freedom of thought, all while gunning down bad guys? Snake Eater rightfully topped our list of the best PS2 games too. Set in 1964, players take Naked Snake on a covert mission with some of the stealthiest kill skills around. Assumedly he's Naked Snake because it has something to do with the Summer of Love. Who knows? Both games look stunning with their new HD polishing and are great to revisit while kicking back on the sofa or at the office instead of doing work. Denton Games' viciously violent top-down shooter is as much a puzzle game as it is an all-out blaster. Each meticulously structured level requires you to navigate rooms filled with goons and achieve your goals as violently as possible. Doors can be slammed into enemies, weapons can be thrown at them, and dogs can be violently stabbed. No deed is too dirty for your protagonist's jacket, and you'll have to do a lot of nasty stuff and don several animal masks, all of which grant you distinct powers, before you reach the game's conclusion. Hotline Miami is as stylish as it is vibrant, thanks to its neon-soaked pixel art and solid writing, and shouldn't be missed. Its equally violent sequel, Wrong Number, is also available on Sony's console. Tearaway is a platforming puzzle game developed exclusively for the Vita. Using almost all of the Vita's features, like the touchscreen and camera, Tearaway will have you solving puzzles in a colorful papercraft world. Tearaway is one of the most unique games on the Vita. With its beautifully detailed world where everything is made out of paper, Tearaway offers an immersive experience that uses the entirety of the Vita's capabilities to incorporate the real world into the game world. This blending of realities makes for a truly unique gameplay experience that is best enjoyed on the Vita. There are many games that justify the purchase of a console, so Persona 4 Golden is certainly special if most people say that they bought the Vita just to play this JRPG. Unlike Persona 3 Portable, which had to conform to the limitations of the PSP and downgraded many aspects of the game as a result, Persona 4 Golden was launching on a system that was more powerful than the PS2 by a wide margin. This allowed Atlus to go all out as they enhanced most aspects of the game, integrating a wealth of QOL changes and becoming the definitive edition that everyone recommends over the original. Now that the game has finally been ported to modern consoles, Persona fans are pretty happy, but there was a time when it was impossible to converse with any fan without them mentioning how annoying it was that they never got to play one of the greatest JRPGs ever made. Few video game superheroes express their available powers as well as the main protagonist of Japan Studios' sensational action-adventure game. Cat has the power to manipulate gravity, and while it takes a little while to master, you'll soon feel invincible as you run along the sides of buildings, propel yourself at enemies, and even master the power of flight. It creates a wonderful sense of freedom as you explore the breathtaking city of Hexaville and complete quests for its memorable NPCs while looking for the tucked-away gems that will expand Cat's health and grant her new abilities. Not since Crackdown has the feeling of exploring presented so many rewards, and it's easy to lose focus from the main adventure as you explore Hexaville's many nooks and crannies. Japan Studios' game is everything you want from a killer app. It offers stunning visuals, does a spectacular job of showcasing the PS Vita's unique attributes, and is mechanically excellent. It's quite simply the best experience you can have on Sony's handheld. So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me, and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. I would like to remind you that in the description we have a list of different products that can make your gaming experience much better. If you want to buy, the link will be in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for following me this far, and until next time, bye.